Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports, and tonight we have the head coach of Dillard University men's basketball, Mr. Jay Price. Previously coached at my alma mater, Central State University. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Price.
Thanks, Carlos. I really appreciate you. It's good to get back in touch with each other and rekindle that relationship when I was there at your alma mater as a head men's basketball coach there.
Let's talk about your transition to leaving Central State. I want you to go into what you did after you left, and then once you got to Dillard, and then I want to talk to you about your current team.
Okay, well, I made a transition out of Central State and decided to go in administration. And high school, I took a high school athletic director job, district-wide position in Normandy there in St. Louis, Missouri. And I was there for about a year. And then I kind of looked at maybe, I want to go in warmer weather. And I decided I wanted to go down to Phoenix and to kind of go down there and think about retirement a little bit. And I had never lived in that part of the country. And one of my fellow Notre Dame alums, Monty Williams, was the head coach of Phoenix Suns. My teammate when I played at Notre Dame, a guy named Tim Kempton, does the radio. And then I had cousins down there who's on my mom and my sister's side. So I thought, if I take this administrative opportunity down there, well, at least I have some familiar faces there and family there. Well, as I'm looking for a place to stay down there, I get a call from my best friend, who's actually the best friend to the AD here at Dillard. And they were looking to make a transition on their coaching, Hidman's coaching position. And I knew the AD as well, because while I was at Central State, she was the SWA second in charge at Fort Valley State. So she had already known me and I knew her. And, we were, cordial and good friends and pretty good friends. And she, offered me the opportunity to come here at Dillard University here in New Orleans. So I felt like, well, if I want to really coach again, maybe this might be the direction I need to go. So I ended up taking the job. I got here November 1st. They had already played 3 games. And in that first year here, we ended up winning 17 games, went 17-8, had 3 all-conference players. We had a first-team all-conference player and a second-team all-conference player and an all-defensive team player as well. Our best player, who was first team, he's actually playing pro ball, just left a couple of weeks ago to go to Bosnia. And he's a Chicago kid. And then we recruited my first recruiting class. And last season, we didn't have a large amount of turnover because I'm not one of those coaches that likes to run players off the team. And so I kept pretty much everybody that was already here. And we brought in about 6 kids. And with those 6 kids, we had another 2 all-conference players. So in 2 years, we had 5 all-conference players. The kid, Torrey Cargill's a local kid from here in New Orleans, and he made the first team all-conference. Then we had another kid who he played with and won a state championship here in Louisiana, and he made the all-defensive team, kid named Tyrus Crawford. So now I'm going into my 3rd year, and we recruited 8 players. So I'm really excited about this new class of players that we have. We got a lot of depth. This is the best team I've had as a head coach. So I'm really excited about it. And I think we have a great opportunity to win a lot of games this year. And matter of fact, last year we struggled throughout the year because we had a lot of injuries. And with the new players, we couldn't get the right chemistry. But we finished strong, Carlos, and made it to the championship game in the conference tournament.
This is what I want to ask you. I'm the cutoff king, Coach. How difficult is it when you come in to get your players to buy into your philosophy after they've been coached?
Well, I tell you, it's a difficult challenge, but I've always been one. If I'm going to coach you, then I'm going to lead you, I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to love you and try to develop you. And we're really big on developing our student athletes. And that's why I'm raving about the fact that in my 2 years here, we've already had 5 all-conference players. And with the kids that we recruited this year, along with last year's recruiting class, I think we have a chance to have four all-conference players this year.
So, how important is it for you to have a good administration to support your program?
Administration is everything. First and foremost, you have the leader from the president, and then it funnels on down to the athletic director. And I'm very fortunate to know our athletic director, who was a former coach. She also played basketball and she played volleyball, so she really understands the trials and tribulations. And so we just been following her lead here in this athletic department in building our programs. And quite honestly, Carlos, this is probably the best situation I've had as a head basketball coach.
So
the resources is here, the support is here. It's a great city to recruit in, and it's easy to sell. You know, coming down south, when you think of the South and the top cities in the South, New Orleans is one of the top cities in the South. So it's been really a change of recruiting as a head coach, a little bit better than Central State, as well as Grambling State, where I was the head coach there back in 2012 to 14. So it's a great area, you know, and great metropolitan city. We got NFL team here in the New Orleans Saints and the NBA New Orleans Pelicans. So it's an easy sell, great institution. And by the way, Dillard, Carlos, is the first founded HBCU in the state of Louisiana.
Tell me this. What are you looking forward for this season?
I tell you, I'm real excited about this group of young men. This is only my second recruiting class. And so we brought in about 8 kids, and we're more athletic, we're better skilled, and we're deep. And we're probably we're deep in every position where we have 2 players per position.
I didn't know that you were at Grambling, so you got a history of working with HBCUs.
Absolutely. You know, being a former student athlete at University of Notre Dame, people always ask me, well, why you choose HBCUs? And I said, you know, I tell my story because in middle school, my best friend played football at Tennessee State, and I was with him when we took him down for football practice as a freshman. And I'd never been on a HBCU campus, and I just thought it was so cool, you know, go to the track stadium at Tennessee State. You got Wilma Randolph and all of her records, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, because I never had that experience, especially growing up where I was the only Black boy in my school until the 6th grade, right? So it was something that I really embraced and hadn't had the opportunity to be a part of that type of community and environment. And so I really feel, you know, the Lord has blessed me, and to be a positive role model for a young Black man and a mentor, you know, and I feel like this is where the Lord has guided me. So this must be what I'm meant to do. And this is part of my purpose.
Hey, Coach, I want to go retro. Talk about you going to Notre Dame and your play there, and who some of the teammates and what that was like. And I'm glad that you talked about why you at HBCUs, because there's a stark contrast from going to a Division I school like Notre Dame, because my roommate, his brother Austin Carr,
yes,
went to Notre Dame and upset UCLA. I think he is works with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and
Yes.
yeah. So
Austin Carr was a little bit earlier than that time. Everybody looked up to him. He's kind of like the godfather of Notre Dame basketball. He's got the all-time single game record and points, and there's Dwight Clay and those crew with John Shoemate, who just got inducted into the Ring of Honor at Notre Dame, who were a part of that team that upset Bill Walton and the UCLA Bruins in their 88-game winning streak. And so it kind of started there. Being an Indiana native, normally you're Purdue and Notre Dame. I had two brothers who were presently who went to Purdue, and so growing up, I always thought I'm going to Purdue. Well, I had a cousin, and he played football at Notre Dame during the time of Joe Montana. Well, my cousin is Vegas Ferguson. He was the running back to Joe Montana, got drafted, went on to play in the NFL with the New England Patriots, and had his picture on the front page of the Sports Illustrated. So I always got up on Sunday mornings to watch Notre Dame football in the tradition and mystique, and they ended up winning the national championship. Then I remember the UCLA game where Notre Dame upset UCLA for the 88-game winning streak. And I was a kid who loved tradition, right? The kids nowadays, they don't even think about tradition.
It's me, right now.
Absolutely. And so my father had bone cancer growing up through middle school and high school. So I was really, looking at, a couple of the options, ACC, and wanted to go out to LA, to USC, but I knew I needed to stay close to home because my father was very ill with cancer, and I didn't want to be far away from my mother. Actually, when I first got the call from Notre Dame, I was down at Purdue hanging out with my brother and playing with their players because I'm like, I'm going to Purdue. My brother's picture's up there on the hallway, and I wanted to continue, I thought I wanted to continue the Price tradition at Purdue. My high school sweetheart, she had electrical engineering, full scholarship there. It's an hour and a half, so all the signs is like, Price, he going to Purdue. Well, I'm down there in Digger. Coach Phelps called my mother, wanted me to come up and visit Notre Dame. And I said, well, Mom, I can't go up there. I just twisted my ankle. I'm on crutches. I can't walk. She was like, well, don't worry, honey. I got some crutches. I think you need to go up there and take a look. So I said, Mom, really? Like, I'm going to get out the car and be on crutches, and I'm expecting this man to offer me a scholarship? Well, at the time, I was, one of the top players coming out of Indiana, and I was a top sophomore and maintained being one of the top players in Indiana, but they never really recruited Indiana players, right? So long story short, I narrowed it all down to like 3 schools: Purdue, Iowa, and Notre Dame. And it was very important to me that I wanted to get my degree. And with their tradition and their 99% student athlete graduation rate, that really rang a bell with me. And I wanted to make my father proud and mother, and follow my cousin Vegas Ferguson's footsteps. Because he's on my father's side of the family, and they're all football players, and on my mother's side, we're basketball. So I said, let me go up here and represent the basketball side. And it was a tough one. It was. I had a lot of sleepless nights. I'm sorry?
Who were some of your teammates?
Well, the first one is John Paxson. Man, I love John Paxson. He played with Michael Jordan, won all the NBA championships. And Pax really showed me what it was, what it was really about, being accountable and being a teammate, being in that foxhole with your teammates. At the time, he was a potential first-round draft pick. He was already academic All-American. And my production, as well as the other 4 freshmen that came in with me, which was Kenny Barlow. He was another Indiana native from Indianapolis. First-round draft pick, went on to play 16 years of pro ball. Jim Dolan from New Jersey, Tim Kempton, who played with Charles Barkley with Phoenix, and a kid named JoJo Montana, who actually got from Seattle, Washington. JoJo Buchanan was at Notre Dame on not only a basketball recruiting trip, but also a football recruiting trip. and he was really good at baseball. Just an all
That
world
was
type kid.
Austin Carr. I told you his brother
Yeah,
was my
Austin Carr.
roommate.
Yeah.
And so Austin played baseball also. I did not know that until I went to visit Rod at his home, and his mother had a shrine to Austin and had some bronze baseball shoes in case. And I was like, what are these? He played back? No, he played baseball too. And
special talent, special talent.
So
yeah.
Now I want you to go into the team that you're going to be putting on the floor this year and talk about them individually, if you would, and what they bring to your program.
Well, first and foremost, we have a young man named Torrey Cargill. Torrey was the first team all-conference last year in the GCAC, and we're now turning to HBCU AC, which is HBCU Athletic Conference. And so I'm expecting him to be once again on the first team all-conference. He's a local kid. We try to recruit local players, and he's just doing a tremendous job. Even right now in preseason, he's leading the players, and they're all in the gym playing right now. And so I'm really excited about him. We're recruiting some size and depth. We got another point guard, Justin. Justin Warren is from Chicago. He went to Whitney Young. He was a state champion, and Torrey Cargill was a state champion as well here in Louisiana. And then we also have a young man, another local kid named Devin Lewis. He's one of our shooters. And then we have a young man from East St. Louis named Ahmad Williams, and I'm expecting some great things out of him. He's long and athletic, kind of Larry Nance type kid. He can run the floor, he can shoot it, he can block shots, a tremendous rebounder. And I think he has a chance to be an all-conference, first or second team all-conference and all-defensive team. We got some other added depth with Ben Ford from Columbus, Ohio. We have Shane Davis, about 6'10", JUCO transfer from Jackson, Mississippi. Real excited about him as well.
So now I want to talk about your coaching staff. Talk a little bit about them, who you have, and why you have them.
Well, Coach Kobe Robinson is a local guy, young, aspirating coach who's going to be a future head coach. His cousin played basketball here at Dillard. So he's very familiar with Dillard, and he's from here in New Orleans. And I wanted to hire somebody who knew all the high school coaches, because part of our philosophy was to recruit local kids and kids who were state champions. So on our roster, we have about 5 kids who were state champions in high school. And Coach Robinson done a good job. He was the lead. He recruited a kid from Houston named Khalif Ali. And he's a transfer from Houston Tillotson. He's going to add some strength and a pick and pop ability for our bigs. He's about 6'7", 6'8" kid, and great kid. And he's been very influential in recruiting the local kids as well. And so we're really excited about his future and what he's brought to our program. And my goal is that we win the championship this year, and I get the head coaching title of the year, and he gets the assistant coach of the year title this year.
Hey, Coach, you got big aspirations, man.
Why not, man? Why not? I feel like this is a great opportunity. We got great leadership in Dr. Linda Bell, and she's got a big vision for us. And in fact, Carlos, it's a possibility we may be going to D2 and going into the same conference as Central State in the SIAC the following year. So we want to, we really want to have a great year this year. And again, we made it to the conference tournament championship game last year and lost to Philander Smith, and they lost a few of their players. So we're trying to get to that mountaintop this year. And I think we got a lot of great pieces. We also have another kid from Louisiana, Ben Traven Phillips, really small, dynamite kid. He's actually going to be my first my first doctor. You know, he's a 4.0 student and majoring in biology, and he's got aspirations to go to med school and be a doctor. So I'm really proud of
Right.
him.
That leads into my next question, because when you go to Cascade Sports website, you see Cascade Sports is home of the student athlete, not of the
Mhm.
athlete. How important do you stress uh, the players on their academics? Do they?
Well, well, one of our goals, Carlos, is our team goal this year is to have a team cumulative of 3.0 GPA. And we really put a lot of emphasis on our recruiting. We want to recruit great character kids who are very serious about their education, and but at the same time very passionate about the game of basketball. And so we we really wanted to focus on that because I just believe that's my makeup, that's my values from Notre Dame and what I was taught going to school there and understanding the importance of my education and using the system and don't let the system use you. And so we really worked hard on these kids, and we just very fortunate and appreciative that the kids and their parents bought in and wanted to be a part of our vision and where we're trying to take this program. And that
How
we were more importantly the right fit for them as they were the right fit for us.
how important? Two-part question: alumni and uh, your student body coming to the games. How important is that to the makeup of your team? And do you gauge that as it relates to, does that play any part in you being successful? Or is it just straight X and O's?
Well, the X and O's is the easy part of the job. I've been very fortunate to have a Hall of Fame high school coach and Hall of Fame collegiate coach in Digger Phelps and but I've always, from Notre Dame's experience, understood how important it was to communicate and be accessible to the alumni. And we're really making an emphasis. For example, this year we're looking to go to DC and play Howard University. Just waiting to get the details down and go there and be able to play in front of a lot of our alumni out there in the Baltimore and DC area. We're also playing Tulane here in the city, where our alums here in the city can see us play that top-notch team in Tulane, which I have great relationship with the head coach. Ron Hunter is one of my mentors and who gave me my first opportunity. But the student body is very important. And as we teach our young men to be a part of the community and be cordial and friendly with everybody and sell yourselves, because if people see that you're great character kids and you're humble and you work hard to get your good grades like they do, then they're gonna look at you differently than just looking at you as a jock or somebody who's just all about basketball, not about your education. So it's very important. As I've been here, the previous coach didn't really communicate with the alums so much. So I've been trying to make myself more accessible because that's what I've done. I've always been a part of that. And again, that's my makeup from Notre Dame and getting to know the alumni and selling the program, selling myself and what we're trying to do. And next thing you know, if we're doing that now, we got great relationships all around the country. We're playing down in Houston this year. And we got a lot of Dillard alums down there who are looking forward to seeing us come there and bring our brand of basketball and the Dillard brand to Houston. And we're going to be there a couple nights, a couple games, I should say. So, but it's always been important to get to know the alumni, and the alumni get to know me. And then they can help sell me and our program and what we're trying to do here as well. But more importantly, we want to really work hard and give them a product and a brand that they can be proud of.
Do you think, before we close, do you think alumni uh, for HBCUs, because you've been at a couple of them, and I'm going different, that our people really that come out of these schools really understand the importance of them giving back financially, not just coming to homecoming?
Well, I tell you, our homecoming is terrific. I make myself accessible. I get out and try to shake hands and meet people and introduce myself. Um, I think that, as we continue to build our brand, that it's only going to be much better as they feel comfortable with getting to know me and what we're trying to do. But again, it's coming from our leadership, Dr. Linda Bell. We've done so much here with our gym. We just got a new floor. We've really repainted our gymnasium and just a lot of upgrades. And so we've got a lot more people donating to the athletic department than before, and to my knowledge. And so it's coming along just fine, and you can really see the progression that we're making. But I think it's, as people see where their money is going, then they're going to want to donate more and more.
Because
So
coming out of a program, cutting you up, coming out of a program like Notre Dame and these these big schools, their alumni play a very important part in their sports programs that
Yes.
allow them to really have the equipment. When you travel, we're not eating at McDonald's. We're having a good meal and all of that. And I like to draw that out of coaches so that when they're alumni, if they are looking at your interview, they have to understand the team can play well, but you're not going to get your best athletes unless you have a strong program. And go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the foundation of our program is first and foremost educate our players who are here presently here. Our AD, Dr. Linda Bell, wants us coaches to make sure that our student athletes has a great experience. If our student athletes has a great experience, then they're going to be more willing to get back to the program once they're out and being successful. As far as the alumni, it's really building those relationships and them being confident and believing in the leadership, such as myself, that we're doing great things and we're doing what's right by the student athletes and the university. But it's just building that relationship and getting them to buy in and trust the process and trust what we're trying to do for their alma mater. Because like I tell my players, this opportunity ain't about me and it ain't about them. It's a much bigger picture and landscape of what we're trying to do in representing the Dillard Blue Devils athletic program and university.
All right. Before we close out, I want you to give two sections advice. Give a young freshman some advice on what he should be paying attention to and how they should be projecting themselves. And then
freshman in high school?
Freshman
in high school or college?
Well, you can go both. Freshman in high school so that they can get to that next level. And then a freshman, once you are in school playing, what you should be doing. The other thing, what would you tell coaches or high school or college person that is interested in becoming a coach?
Okay. We'll tackle the freshman high school. Parents and young men and young student athletes need to understand their freshman year in high school is the most important year of their high school years. It's very important they start off and be serious about their academics. The one thing they need to understand is that creates their GPA, right? And then they also have to take the SAT or ACT test scores. Well, if you're not a Division I player, it's going to be very important that you have great academics because we can package your scholarship. In other words, you go in Division I, you just automatically get an athletic scholarship. But below that, D2, D3, and NAIA, it's going to be packaged from your GPA, your academics, GPA, your athletic ability, and then your financial aid based on what
that's how I went to school, Coach.
Or your fam or from your family. And
Coach. That's how I went to school with Pell Grant
Yes,
athletic
absolutely.
scholarship, and the coaches, if you got your academics right, they'll piece it together for you. You don't
Absolutely.
have to
Absolutely.
always think I gotta get a full scholarship on my athletic ability. And I like the way you broke that down.
Yes, I try to break it down for parents that way so they really understand it, and the student athletes as well, because that sets the foundation of where you're going to go to and where you're going to end up as you're going to be a sophomore and then a junior and a senior. You often see when we look at transcripts, it's always the freshman year they screw up because freshmen are in high school. That's a lot of peer pressure. I was very fortunate when I was a freshman, we were still in middle school. So we were the big dogs in middle school, right? Then I went to the high school as a sophomore, but I already had that foundation of doing pretty good in my grades academically as a freshman. And so I always stress that to kids, don't get caught up in the peer pressure. Really understand how important that freshman is, that freshman year of studies is. Now, as a freshman in college, right, it's the same thing right all over again. It's just like when you was a freshman in high school. You have to really focus on your academics. Don't get caught up in trying to party and fit in. Be serious about your academics because that sets the stage of your GPA, for the future years to come. And if for some reason you're not, going to play pro ball, or even if you are, you're out there competing to get a job once you graduate as a senior with everybody else. And I often tell parents, hey, if you're CEO, of Carlos Incorporated, right? Who you gonna give the $80,000 job to? The 3.5 or the 2.5? Odds are you're gonna give it to the 3.5 because
No,
it tells a
hey,
little
ain't
bit
no
more.
odds, no question.
Yes. So I break it down like that, Carlos, so parents and kids can really understand it. And I let them answer the question, right? Just like I asked you, well, who you gonna get the job to? That's 80,000 now. And they always
Not
say
playing
get a
with that, baby.
3.5 GPA.
We got a segment on Cascade Sports. I think we might have 30 interviews. It's called Bridging the Gap Between Sports and Education. Uh, if they're smart, they're using the education to put them in position to get a good job that's going to take care of them for the rest of their life. And they
Absolutely.
because 99% of these athletes, you're not going to be a pro athlete.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
you can use who you know as your currency in life. And
Yes.
you attested to that earlier in your conversation. Every coach that I have talked to, talked to you about the North Carolina assistant coach. He was on the winning when Louisville was winning the national championships. He lost his job. All the coaches that was on that team wound up getting head coaching jobs at different universities. He knew them. They hired him. Just same thing that you're talking about. And the kids have got to look at a much larger picture about life and where they're at right now. And if you have a good coach, it's more than basketball that he's pouring into you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that I was very fortunate to play 13 years of pro ball over in Europe and had that opportunity. And it was funny because one of my coaches, when I was in Belgium, he said, "JP, you're going to be a coach one day." I said, "Nah, I don't think I'm going to be a coach one day." Nah, I saw how Digger was with his assistant coaches. And Lord behold, when I retired, like a year later, that was on my mind. And I was really fortunate for two guys who've been very instrumental in me being where I am today. And again, it's Ron Hunter, who's the head men's basketball coach at Tulane University here in New Orleans, and his associate head coach, Coach Ray McCullum. And they've helped me all along the way and gave me my first opportunity. And I just can't be thankful, I'm just so thankful for them and looking out for my best interests but it's you have to pay homage and respect and you got to work hard, and they kind of show me the ropes along the years to get to where I am. And so I'm just real thankful and blessed and really thankful for our president um, who hired me here, and Dr. Ford, and she had just recently resigned, and Now we have great leadership here, and Dr. Guillory, who's the interim president here at Dillard, and she's very supportive of our athletic program, and we're just really looking forward to having a great year. But it's very important for coaches to understand the importance of development, right? And I think that we're losing that here in the States versus the coaches over in Europe. You see all these European kids, right? Coming over here and getting drafted in the NBA, and they're making us sweat now. They're making us sweat now because they're getting good. But I think we have to really be more diligent in our development, especially on our bigs here in the States. But more importantly, network, try to build you a nice network of coaches who can help you develop more and build that network to get hired so you can move up in the coaching ranks.
Remember, I asked you, go ahead and turn your shoulder like I did with the Cascade. Yeah. Adidas. So bringing this into the full conversation, when I started Cascade Sports in 2008, here in Kansas City, they had the big hoopla. You know how all the basketball brains, they'll have something, and everybody in basketball will be there. They had that here. The head president of Adidas, this is in 2008, he said that we have to stop how we are training our kids. And they were talking about how we have the AAU season and you're traveling and doing all of this. He pointed out in Europe, in the summertime, those athletes are practicing on their personal development. They're not running around the country playing games. And since 2008, you have seen he was like reading the tea leaves. More and more Europeans are coming to the NBA. So you got to look at, well, why? How? What are they doing that we're not doing? And it's how we are training and what we're doing in the summertime.
Well, Carlos, that's true. I told people years ago when I retired and came back to the States, I said, if we don't be careful, the Europeans are going to start beating us in the Olympics and the World Championship games. I was just fortunate to have the opportunity to play with Dirk Nowitzki, NBA champ, MVP in the NBA, before he came here to the States. And my experience from playing in Europe has always been development. Okay. And we have hindered our kids from an early age where, for example, they can only play in before AAU, I should say, blew up. You can only, and even right now, you can only, as a college, you can only work with your kids so often, so many hours per week, right? And so because of those limitations that we've had to be able to work with our players, that takes away time of the development with them. But the thing is, once you get to college, you're getting them, where they're already either good or they're pretty good, right? But the foundation starts
at the lower levels.
Right? In the high school, the middle school. For example, when I went to St. Louis, they didn't even have middle school sports. I was like, well, how you expect these kids to be stars and go to college? How you expect them to be good? I mean, no middle school sports in the school district.
I don't know how St. Louis, they high schools win the championship every year in Missouri.
Yeah, but but certain areas they do. But in the district I was in, Normandy, they had no middle school sports, which is why I was hired to go and develop middle school sports so we can get that development in middle school. So as they continue to grow and develop, now they get to the high school. Now they're able to win state championships or regionals or district championships. But it was really sad to me because from my experience, I've been playing basketball since I was in elementary, then middle school, and there's no way I would have been a high major Power 5 player had I not played middle school sports. So the development is just really big, and we just need to really educate our coaches. And it's great that they give their time in AAU, and they travel around, and the NBA players give their money to give those kids a chance to travel and compete. But I think the accountability and the development is really the vocal point that we need to hold our youth to, because now it's becoming more of a sense of entitlement, right? Instead of just going out there and grinding and working hard and earning your stripes like it used to be, right? So, I mean, they're getting a great opportunity, being able to travel and compete, and the NBA players giving their money to give kids opportunity. But I think we have to really get serious about the development, because the rest of the world is catching up.
All right, Coach. In closing, what would you have to say to our audience?
Well, I will say this: do your research, and there's a lot of folk who don't know about HBCUs and what we have to offer. I've been very fortunate to work at three: Grambling State, Central State, and now Dillard University. And it just happens to be my niche, and I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with our young men and develop them. As a head coach, you carry many hats, because a lot of our young men don't have fatherly figures, and they really don't have people to really care about their well-being. And you get that at HBCUs. You get the nurturing, you get the mentorship, you get where people care about you in like environments. You come from the same environments. And so
that's key to me with HBCUs, yes. That when you go to any HBCU, you feel at home. And I went to Manhattan University, a Jesuit. You don't fit in, like, you just slide right on in when you go to these HBCUs. There's really no change as it relates socially, economically, or anything. All them people, for the most part, come from the same background that you come from.
And I must say, Carlos, here at Dillard, we have a beautiful commencement, and it's on the oaks. And I've never seen oak trees before till I got here. It's just a beautiful environment and atmosphere, and it's just so humbling and impressionant when you see these young Black students cross that stage, valedictorian, cum laude, and all the academic accolades, where they came here and they did the damn thing and did their best, and now they crossing that stage with great academic accolades. And it's just a beautiful sight. And it's kind of like my most favorite day of being at HBCU's commencements, and not let alone, me coaching my players and seeing them, go through the grind of the season, getting up early in the morning, running, working out, going to class and doing their schoolwork, traveling on the road, playing 3 games in 4 days and things like that. And to see that they accomplished their goal and their dream of getting their degree is just a terrific accomplishment. And I'm very proud of our student athletes.
And to me, as you are talking about that, you can tell the enjoyment you receive as a coach, more enjoyment than the players that are moving to the next, when you see them developing and so forth.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because most coaches, they're all about their wins and losses, right? For me, I feel what my legacy is going to be what my players are doing in their lives and what they're accomplishing. And so that's how I look at it. It ain't necessarily wins and losses. My legacy is about what my student athletes are doing in their lives, and what type of citizens they are, and sons and all fathers, and that's what I'm about. Like this year, I was talking about the kid Ben Traven Phillips, where he's majoring in biology. He wants to go to med school and be a doctor. Well, he's going to be my first doctor. I'm really, really excited about that. I know I got an attorney on my team. I'm not sure which one yet, but I know one of them is going to be an attorney, and a couple of them are going to be pro basketball players, and and I'm going to help them fulfill their dreams, like I was blessed and afforded to fulfill my dreams.
All right, so to our audience, I want my audience to really understand this. Can't play with Cascade Sports because we go hard in the paint, baby. And as I
Absolutely.
always say, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.